The 5-game winning streak is done. It won't happen, I should say. It was a 4-game winning streak for the Penguins, but it won't happen to go to 5. We're going to find out about why on today's episode of Penguins Postgame. Pens and the Islanders. We've got Thomas McGregor in the studio to join us. It starts right now. Let's get to it. You're locked in to Penguins hockey on the Sports for Beginners podcast. Sidney Crosby and the Penguins play here on the Sports for Beginners podcast. He shoots, he scores. The bingo game is ready to roll. Welcome to Penguins postgame. PPG for PGH. And you'd have to be here to believe it. Here is your host, Scott McGregor. Welcome in, Penguins fans. My name is Scott McGregor, joined by my good friend and host of On the Ice and Behind the Benches, Thomas McGregor. Penguins fall 4-2 to the New York Islanders. Because we have Thomas in as a guest, we will have him in here to provide us with the play of the game. And of course, we will allow him to talk game, puck of the game, and shake of the game with us. But we can't get to any of that yet until we meet the head coaches of tonight's matchup, which are Patrick Roy and Mike Sullivan. Breaking down the coaches as we get into the beginning of the show. And as we do that, we will break down the game in just a moment and also talk about our goaltending matchups, but just a little brief history. The Penguins picked up a W before the new year at the end of 2024 as they beat the New York Islanders 3-2 on December 29th, 2024. They lost the previous matchups 6-3 on December 28th, 2024, and the opening matchup in Long Island 4-3 in a shootout back on November 5th in 2024. Tonight they battle for the second time in Pittsburgh on March 18th, 2025. By the time you hear this show, along with the other show I did earlier today, recapping our matchup from St. Patrick's Day, the Saturday game, I should say, against the Devils, you will hear this recap as well. Without further ado, I say we get a move on. Don't you, Thomas? Yeah, let's get a move on. Oh, but first, how are you doing tonight, Thomas? And welcome back to Penguins Postgame. How are you doing tonight? You are muted.
I'm doing well, guys. I'm doing well. The pod is doing the best that it can to get things going. Maple Leaf Post recap will be with you guys, as I mentioned, on many of the Maple Leaf Post recaps that we have to get out to you. Maple Leaf Post recap will be, whether we want to be or not, we will be with you for the Avalanche and the Maple Leafs after Wednesday's match goes final. Our goal, of course, is to get to 81 games. That's our goal, to get to 81 games. But be sure to catch this Wednesday, so tomorrow, be sure to catch ahead of the Avalanche second meeting between the Maple Leafs. Just one half of the Avalanche and Maple Leaf meetings between the Avalanche and the Toronto Maple Leafs, in which the Maple Leafs lost to the Avalanche in Colorado by a pretty bad score, but a game score of nothing more than just a final score of 7-4. What will the case be in Toronto? Find out tomorrow night. With that being said, we've been better, so let's keep it going.
All right. So we did get a little bit of cutout there, but that's okay. Hopefully our technology will be our friend tonight. But yeah, some great shows coming up on Maple Leaf Post Recap. And without further delay, let's jump in to the coaches. Oh, no, we already jumped into the coaches right off the jump. My bad. Excuse me for that, everyone. Sorry about that. My bad. We'll jump into our goaltending matchup. And our goaltenders, I'll reiterate them via my notes rather than do them on my desktop notes here. All those notes are the same. But for Mike Sullivan and the Penguins, they would once again go to Tristan Jarry. Jarry has won the last 4 games he has started as a Pittsburgh Penguin. Alex Nedeljkovic backing him up as well for this game. Meanwhile, Patrick Roy, will counter with Ilya Sorokin and Marcus Hogberg. Marcus Hogberg in at backup. Ilya Sorokin goes against Tristan Jarry. And one more thing to add there just before we get into the game from the brief history. With this win, the Islanders have won the season series for 2024-2025 3-1. So, Thomas, I say it's about time we get into the breakdown, don't you?
Indeed, I'd say it's about time we get into the breakdown, so let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Stats for the game coming up in just a little bit. Due to the technical issues that we've been having, we will not do the shared screen like we did in the last one, just to savor some time. But I may bring them up during the 3 stars of the game as a shared screen. But without further delay, let's jump to this game. We're going to start by going over tonight's penalty takers. And tonight the penalty takers include Pierre Engvall taking a penalty for the New York Islanders after Patrick Roy unsuccessfully challenged the goal scored by the captain of the Pittsburgh Penguins, Sidney Crosby. With that goal and point, he surpasses Wayne Gretzky for the 4th most points in a single season with one franchise. Wayne Gretzky is now the 5th player in NHL history to do that. Crosby is now behind Mario Lemieux, Steve Yzerman, and Gordie Howe, Mr. Hockey. And I'm sure Thomas will bring that up if he has me on the ice and behind the benches, I'm sure he will bring that up in a future episode whenever we're able to do that. But we'll talk more about that a little bit later. Anywho, Pierre Engvall will take that penalty for delay of game, unsuccessful challenge at the time of Crosby's goal, which was 19 minutes and 45 seconds. In the second period, the penalties went 1-2 aside. The New York Islanders would see Bo Horvat take a 2-minute minor for abuse of the officials. That's a new one. I've never seen a penalty like that before. I would like to classify that as another delay of game, but it is what it is, and it is as it was called. That came at 4 minutes and 48 seconds. Matt Grzelcyk takes the Penguins' only penalty of the game for tripping Jean-Gabriel Pagry, Jean-Gabriel P, at the 12-minute and 2-second mark of the second period. And last but certainly not least, in the third period of play, Ryan Pollock picking up a penalty, I should say, and the third and final penalty the Islanders will take in this game. This one is a 2-minute holding call against Brian Rust. Ryan Pollock, the guilty man. 2-minute minor for holding, 14 minutes and 43 seconds in. Off to the goals we go. Things get started early with a NHL first. That's right, an NHL first. Congratulations, Joona Koppanen. Joona. I'll go with JK. Sorry about that. If I pronounced the name wrong, apologies in advance. Vladis Koliachonik picking up his 5th assist of the season. But welcome to the NHL and congratulations on your first career NHL goal. You'll always remember your first. Joona Koppanen. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, I probably am, so I apologize in advance. But that gets things started 4 minutes and 40 seconds in to the first period of play. Christopher Letang picking up assist number 20 on the season. Nice job by Christopher Letang. Nice job by Tanger. Penguins go up 1-0. And then Crosby strikes his 24th goal of the season and his 1,670th point in his NHL career is what surpasses Wayne Gretzky for everything I just told you. Connor Timmins, the new Penguin, coming over from the Maple Leafs, picking up his 9th assist of the season. Ryan Graves, not very many assists this year for Ryan Graves. And I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. We're back again. Sorry about that. We had a reconnecting going on there. Where was I? Oh yeah, Ryan Graves, his 2nd assist of the season. Not too many assists for Ryan Graves this year, but that's okay. He picks up his 2nd of the year. At the timeline of when the goal was challenged, it was being challenged for goaltender interference. It was determined that there was no goaltender interference. The score held up, so the Penguins take a 2-0 lead into the first intermission report, where they trailed 12-9 at the end of the first 20 minutes of play. The second period, well, the shots on goal for that period, 13-8 in favor of the New York Islanders. The Islanders outshooting the Penguins 25-17 at the end of 2 periods of play. In the second period of play, no scoring, so we went over the penalties already. Let's roll on. Third period we go. We rolled over the penalties in the third period. But this is where the Penguins, if you ask me, if you ask Phil Borg, maybe he agrees with me. I don't know what your take is on it, Thomas, but to me, they got stuck in the mud. They really did get stuck in the mud. They really did get stuck in the mud in this one. And here's how it all went down. Just 17 seconds into the game, third period, Kyle Palmieri takes advantage of a Penguins turnover and turns it into his 21st goal of the season. That makes it 2-1 Penguins. 4 minutes and 34 seconds later, I should say, because this was actually 17 seconds in that Kyle Palmieri scored his goal, the only goal he would score in this game. Noah Dobson picking up his 8th goal of the season. He's one of the Penguin killers in my book, and he killed the Penguins in this one. 8th goal of the season for him. Bo Horvat picking up his 24th assist of the season. Kyle Palmieri, his 22nd assist of the season. It's now 2-2. So faster than you could skin a rabbit, Penguins fans. The Penguins find themselves knotted up at 2-2 in the third period. Faster than you could say, oh, don't worry about it. We got this. We got this goal, or we got this in the bag. We're good. Faster than you could skin a rabbit. It's not going to happen. And it would continue as the Penguins once again find themselves in a hole. This is a deflected shot as Pierre Engvall gets the Islanders their first lead of the evening, and it's 3-2 Islanders. Islanders lead 3-2. Pierre Engvall's 5th goal of the season. Noah Dobson, a goal. How about he grabs an assist in this one? His 22nd assist of the season. Hudson Fasching with his 2nd assist of the season. It's 3-2 Islanders. Jarry's been pulled. We're late in the period, just about 2 minutes left to go in the game. And it's Simon Holmstrom with his 16th goal of the season. He puts it in the empty net. Kyle Palmieri picks up his 2nd assist of the game, which is his 23rd of the season. And the New York Islanders defeat the Pittsburgh Penguins 4-2. Time of the goal, 18 minutes, 28 seconds. The Pierre Engvall goal comes in at 13 minutes and 8 seconds. The Noah Dobson tying goal comes in at 5 minutes and 34 seconds. And the goal that started this entire show from Kyle Palmieri, just 17 seconds into the third, and the Penguins are on notice. Thomas, would you be so kind as we continue here on the opening segment of our show? We might take a break when you actually hear this on the audio, but would you be so kind as to provide us with our shots on goal, face-offs, power play, penalty, hits, blocks, giveaways, and takeaways. Oh, before you do, the Penguins were outshot 13-5 at the end of regulation time period. So this means 13-5 at the end of regulation? 13-5. They must have taken down a couple of the shots on goal, I should say, to make it 38-21 Islanders. But Thomas, go ahead. What other stats besides the shots on goal that I just brought up are our game totals in this one? Islanders and the Penguins. Again, the final score, Islanders 4, Penguins 2. Just before I give the floor to Thomas, it looked like Tristan Jarry, up until the 4-goal third period by the New York Islanders, it looked like to me, Tristan Jarry was finally going to have a game where he did not let a single goal by. Thomas, go ahead. What are the other stats for this game?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's stats for you, besides the third period, required that the New York Islanders outshot the Pittsburgh Penguins 38-22, with 13 scoring chances for the New York Islanders in the second 20 minutes of play, 8 scoring chances for the Pittsburgh Penguins in the second 20 minutes of play. And after 20 minutes of play, we had a 12 scoring chance lead for the New York Islanders to a 9 scoring chances lead for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So ultimately, you look at the first 20 minutes of play, guys, and you say to yourself, well, yeah, but that's not what we finished with. We finished with 22 and they finished with 38. But if you guys look at it real closely, okay, if we look at it real close, let's look at it real close. Okay, so it was 12-9. So let's see. The Islanders had 12 more shots than you did in the first 20 minutes of play, Pittsburgh Penguins fans. However, you had 9 total shots in the first 20 minutes of play. So really, the Islanders, who having only 12 shots in the first, and you having only 9 shots in the first, really you were only down by, in football terms, a field goal. Now, you got down pretty big in the scoring shots on goal tally by the end of the game. Oh yeah, that's for sure. That's for damn sure. You guys got outshot, I should say. But here's some stats that might help you out. Both penalty kills were amazing tonight. The Islanders' power play was not able to connect on their first chance. Something we don't look for when we watch the Islanders' power play. The Penguins' power play, same result. 0 for 3 on the power play. The penalty kills were the story of this game. Pittsburgh, despite spending 1 minute, or rather 2 minutes in the box, to the 6 minutes the Islanders put themselves in the box for, was able to capitalize on the one penalty they had to kill off. But they weren't able to capitalize on the 3 chances they had on the power play. You know who was able to capitalize on the power play? Well, none of the above. But if you're talking penalty kills, as that was the story of this hockey game, it was the Islanders and the Penguins penalty kills, killing off 3 penalties. And in the Islanders' case, the Penguins were killing off 1 penalty, and both penalty kills succeeded. Both teams hit each other a rare, easy amount of times, 19 hits to 18 hits. The Penguins blocked just 15 of the that's right, 15 shots from the New York Islanders, and they were able to see them get blocked by the Islanders 23 times. The Penguins gave up this puck 18 times to the 14 that the Islanders gave up. The Penguins may have taken the puck away 5 times, but the Islanders only took the puck away 2 times, and that's all they needed to finish this game. Now, I would get into the face-off circle, but we'd be here all night, and I don't want to get into that. I do, however, want to provide you a game score update with things leading into our first break, and I'll just provide you the action that's ongoing right now. We have the Seattle Kraken leading 6-2 over Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks. Connor Bedard with one of the goals to speak of. Tyler Bertuzzi also with the goal to speak of for the Chicago Blackhawks. Adam Larson leads the charge for the Seattle Kraken. And the difference maker right here is Shane Wright with his 16th and 17th goal of the season, leaving the score where it is now in the third and final period of action at 6-2. The Edmonton Oilers and Connor McDavid lead the Utah Hockey Club 5-1. And after 20 minutes of play in Vancouver, it is 3-1 Vancouver over the Winnipeg Jets. That is your scoreboard update. A look at the games that went final, plus this one, probably coming up when we continue on Penguins postgame. So stick with us. We'll be right back with more Penguin postgame right here on Sports for Beginners and streaming every Wednesday off day for the Pittsburgh Penguins when they are not playing on the ice and behind the benches. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
What a busy traffic on this Friday evening. I am almost stuck in this traffic for the last 40 minutes. And there is no way, I think, for me to get to the show. The SienaT Radio Song Bank, which is going to start very shortly. It's one of my favorite shows. And my, what a way to wind down for the weekend. Perfect 2 hours of fun-filled music. And she has so many great features. Sound of Music, Undercover, Foreign Exchange. Name that tune. And the big wheel that she spins. For Who's That? Or Where Are We? we cannot forget about the international stage. I have never come across such a great show in my life. I think I will have to press hard on my accelerator and go as fast as I can to get home in time. Wow! Wow! Look! I made it! I am almost there! SienaT Radio, making your day brighter, one song at a time.
Take another look with Gerda Felix and Melanie Taddeo Malo, two powerful women of diverse backgrounds having genuine, unique, and uncomfortable conversations that everyone needs to have. Join Melanie and Gerda for conversations about what is missing from human connections.
Looking for a sports podcast that covers sports weekly as well as gets you set up for the day? Check out Weekly in Sports with me, Scott McGregor. We give some shout-outs of the week to podcasts like this one and those who do them. Discuss the Blue Jays, Bills, Raptors, and more. To learn more, check out the Sports for Beginners Facebook page. Search Sports for Beginners. Welcome back into Penguins postgame, and first of all, I want to give a shout to our listeners over on Broadcast Map and SienaT Radio. You guys do excellent content and excellent programming. I, of course, am looking forward to, while the Penguins are on the off day on Thursday, I, of course, am looking forward to kicking back after recording episode 8 of season 4 of Sports for Beginners. I'm looking forward to kicking back for at least an hour and checking out, should it be able to run, the Cosmopolitan Culture Club, which you can hear on SienaT Radio every alternate Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern until 9 p.m. Eastern. I would get into the Central Pacific UK time and France time, but we'd be here all day. So just one quick thing to bring up in our stats for the game as we bring up our 3 stars coming up in just a few minutes. And those are courtesy of our guest, Thomas McGregor. If we were on solo, I would bring them to you. But since we have Thomas on the show here, he will be the one to bring us the 3 stars of the game. But before we get to that, your face-off totals: out of 55 face-offs, the Pittsburgh Penguins winning 30 out of the 55 face-offs for about 54.5% of the face-offs winning. The New York Islanders winning 25 out of the 55 face-offs. So basically, we have about 55% of the face-offs won by the Penguins, and 46% of those face-offs won by the New York Islanders. And to Thomas's point, the penalty minutes were 6-2 in favor of the Islanders. The Islanders didn't exactly out-hit the Penguins, but they outshot the Penguins 38-22. The hits were 19-18. And the block shots 23-15. All right, time now to send it back to Thomas for the 3 stars of the game. And they are brought to you by, if we had a sponsor, but we don't have one yet. We might have one coming down the road. as we are still kind of new to this, even though we are now approaching our third year of doing this show, Sports for Beginners. As we are approaching that will be in August of this year, 2025. We started the show back in 2022, but we'll talk about that more on episode 8 of season 4, because we'd be here all day if I brought that all up to you. So Thomas, without further ado, let us know the 3 stars of the game. But before we get into that, they are brought to you by, on the Penguins Radio Network, they are brought to you by your neighborhood Ford stores in Pittsburgh. Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs are the official vehicles of the Pittsburgh Penguins. How's that for a powerhouse squad? Thomas? Oh, we seem to be having some technical issues. Oh, there we go. We're back. How's that for a powerhouse squad, as I said earlier? Thomas? Let us all know who received the 3 stars of the game tonight at PPG Paints Arena in a game that saw the Penguins' 4-game winning streak come to an abrupt halt before it became 5. The floor is yours.
Well, speaking of games coming to an abrupt halt, in a 5-game winning streak coming to an abrupt halt before it can even happen, the 5-game winning streak that does not see 6 games comes at the hands of the Montreal Canadiens as they beat the Ottawa Senators 6-3 in that hockey game. All right. Now, you're here for the 3 stars of the game. You're here for the 3 stars of the game right now, because we got so much more content to come out. Let's not waste any time. Here we are. Here are your 3 stars of tonight's hockey game, as we would say in our introductions. In the first star tonight, we got 2 points in Noah Dobson. Noah Dobson gets the first star of tonight's hockey game. But wait, Islander fans, there's more. There's more, you say, Thomas? Yes, my friend, there's more. Former Toronto Maple Leaf Pierre Engvall is a part of the New York Islanders now, and he gets a goal in this game and a point to his name. That means Pierre Engvall replaces whoever Pittsburgh Penguin related could have been the second star of the night for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So there you go. There are 2 Islanders on the board, but there's 1 star missing. Who's number 3 in tonight's contest? Who's number 3? Well, that happens to be VK of the Pittsburgh Penguins. VK of the Pittsburgh Penguins, who gets an assist in this game and rather a goal, is not to be seen here, but he does pick up a point. The Penguins do not have a 2-point party on 5th Avenue tonight to celebrate. But you know what they can celebrate, Penguins fans, is the fact that they avoided getting swept by the New York Islanders 4-0. That's what they can hope and be reminded of, that they did win a match against the New York Islanders before the final puck drop, which was tonight, March 18th, Tuesday night. so they can hope that they had survived before we hit the new year a 3-game downward spiral to 4-game sweep mode from the New York Islanders. The Islanders You're kidding me, right?
Okay, so we seem to have lost Thomas there, but we got a little bit of what he had said there. So, without further ado, our 3 stars of the game were Vladislav Kolyachonik. He was our 3rd star. Our 1st star was Noah Dobson, and our 2nd star was Pierre Engvall. All right, we're going to let Thomas back in here, as we seem to not be having any promises with our connection. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. We are working through this. I feel like you, Sienna, not to take away from what you were saying, but I feel like you, Sienna, when you were doing the song bank last Friday night when you did that, when we were trying to figure out what was going on, I tell you, it was rough, because at 1 minute your listeners are connected, next minute you've lost connection with them completely. So I do apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. And this is a true fact, because I do recall Sienna mentioning this on the latest episode of the SienaT Radio Song Bank last Friday, when they did the program last Friday. I hope they'll be able to do and run it smoothly, the Cosmopolitan Culture Club, on a Thursday night like this Thursday. But you never can tell with technology. Sometimes it wants to be your friend, other times it does not. All right, moving on. The play of the game is brought to you by, on the Penguins Radio Network, that is brought to you by Rivers Casino, Pittsburgh's entertainment destination. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. If you have questions or concerns about your gambling or somebody close to you, please contact Connex Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 to speak to an advisor free of charge. Again, if you have questions or concerns about your gambling or somebody close to you in Ontario, please contact Connex Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 to speak to an advisor free of charge. You must be 18 years or older to play. Please play responsibly. Alrighty. Thomas, normally I would give the play of the game myself, but since you are one of our guests on the show, that honor belongs to you, the guest. And speaking of guests, if you would like to present us with your play of the game, your opinion on the 3 stars of the game, or perhaps your game puck of the game and shake of the game recipients, for this show and others, send an email to sportsforbeginnerspodcast 8231@gmail.com. We've been going for about now 40 minutes on our recording, so we're going to just keep the drive rolling here. Oh, we lost Thomas once again. So therefore, I will provide you with the play of the game as we lost Thomas. You know, technology does not want to be our friend. And honestly, it's very interesting to me. But we're going to work through it, shall we? I think we shall. All right, moving on. For me, the play of the game was pretty much decided when the third period hit. And I'm going to go with Pierre Engvall. His 5th goal of the season. It really put the Penguins on notice. And then, if they were not really on notice after the game got tied, I mean, giddy up, let's go, boys. You had to get that next goal to make it 3-2 Pittsburgh instead of 3-2 Islanders. So Pierre Engvall give you a lot of credit where credit is due. All right, before we get to the big features, as we are at the top of the hour for 11:05 p.m. Eastern, the big features are the shake of the game and the game puck of the game. We'll let Thomas in here as we also want to do a look around the NHL. We'll do that with some of the games that have gone final, and Thomas can provide some updates on the ongoing games as well. Those include the games in the late window that are underway and on the way to finish. We'll get to those in just a second, but let's see what Thomas has on his play of the game as I let him in. If I can let him in, again, we are bearing with technology. Okay, we're going to let him in. Let's see if we can get him on in. We have not been having technology be too kind to us at all. Thomas, we wanted to get... I am terribly sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Our technology is just not wanting to be our friend. Okay, there we go. We're back. Thomas.
It appears that we have lost our host of the program, but you know what, Leafs Nation, Pens Nation, whoever you are listening into Penguins post game, that's technology for you folks. I'll be real honest here. I'll provide some game updates while we wait for the host to get back in to the studio. I'll be real honest here while we wait for the host to get back in here. As you know, I mentioned earlier that we had 3 games on. We now have 2 games on right now. The Winnipeg Jets are taking on the Vancouver Canucks, who currently lead by 2 goals, 3-1 there. We have the Edmonton Oilers and Connor McDavid leading now 7-1 in the third and final period of action for the Edmonton Oilers and the Utah Hockey Club game. That game, of course, available on Sportsnet, and it can be also heard on the Edmonton Oilers radio network. I'm sure the Edmonton Oilers have a radio network that you guys can tune into the game. Games that went final, as I mentioned, when we talked about upsets becoming halted, the Sens were on a 5-game winning streak, hoping to make it 6 tonight, but they run into problems with the match against the Canadiens as Brendan Gallagher, Christian Dvorak, and Lane Hudson, alongside Josh Anderson and Nick Suzuki, stop a 6-game winning streak from becoming a 6-game winning streak for the Ottawa Senators, ending a 5-game winning streak for the Ottawa Senators after the Ottawa Senators picked up their 5th consecutive win, and third straight victory against the Toronto Maple Leafs on this past Saturday night in Toronto. I believe it was a Saturday night. I could be wrong. But nevertheless, their 5-game winning streak comes to a close at the hands of the Canadiens. Calgary Flames, speaking of Canadian teams, pick up a victory against the New York Rangers, 2-1 the final there in Madison Square Garden. The Capitals take it in Washington, D.C. in front of the home crowd against the Detroit Red Wings, 4-1. Overtime be the user note for the Dallas Stars. But Wyatt Johnson and the Dallas Stars, they're not too far away from fear. Rather, they enjoy it. And it would be Granlund with the overtime hero, Roix. But Thomas Harley begs to differ as he forces overtime after a little bit of a Leo Carlson pusher goal, a PS, whatever that stands for, goal that seemed like a shorthanded goal, seemed like a power play goal, whatever you want to call it, it was a goal. And Leo Carlson had the call on that goal. He gets the unassisted goal, his second goal of that game. And the Stars, despite the PS goal, come out to beat the Ducks 4-3. And the last game we're going to look at is the Kraken game, which just went final 6-2. They take it over Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks. They certainly defend the deep in the Windy City. Will they defend the deep for the remaining games for the Seattle Kraken? We'll soon see. All right, we got our host back on. Now, Scott, I believe you had a question for our audience, and I believe you were asking me my Rivers Casino, Penguins official casino sponsor of the Pittsburgh Penguins on the radio, my official play of the game. Was that correct?
Yes, that was correct. That was indeed correct. And my apologies, ladies and gentlemen. We've been having technical issues as we roll on through this show, and already we're at like 49 minutes into the recording. My goodness, we should already be at the game, puck of the game by now, and start to set the scene. Oh boy, here we go again. Yes, I did want your play of the game. Yes, I did want your play of the game. There we go. We're back. There we go. We're back, fans. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. That's technology for you. It does not want to be our friend. Yes, Thomas, I did want your play of the game. I already provided the fans with my play of the game, which is Pierre Engvall. And normally we do just one, but since we had you back, now rightfully give the play of the game to you. you know, technology is technology, ladies and gentlemen. And in the words of Tim McAuliffe, I think my play of the game has to be the undisqualification goal that almost got disqualified. Yes, I'm referring to Sidney Crosby's goal that the Islanders said, wait a minute, I want to challenge this. I don't know if that's a goal. I want to challenge for goaltender interference. Hey, everybody's heard the phrase, challenge accepted. And I'm sure we've all heard the phrase, the phrase of, are you sure you want to do it? Well, the Islanders were sure they want to do it. And they challenged. Unfortunately, it led to a penalty. And
Crosby does get gifted the goal, but I mean, Penguins fans, you have to feel lucky that counted in favor of the Penguins. You have to feel extremely lucky and relieved that actually counted. Because if that did not count, if you remember from the Flames game, if you were watching on Amazon Prime, or odds are you were listening on the Maple Leaf Radio Network, wherever you may be around the world streaming the game, it happened in the Flames game where the Leafs saw the Flames tie the game at 2, and you thought it was tied at 2, but in actuality, it was still just a 2-1 Leafs lead. And it only became the final score of that entire hockey game, which of course was on a Monday. It only became what it was in the final marker, a 2-goal Flames score after they got the smack down beat out of them 6-2. Yeah. Morgan Frost goal, should it have counted? Probably. Did it count? No. The Leafs challenge, did they get it? Yes, they did. Now, here's the scenario where it didn't count. Okay, Morgan Frost might have had a goal. But if you're the Maple Leafs, and this was the Islanders tonight, and the Islanders fans, I'm going to be as unbiased as I possibly can about this, but you're the Islanders coach. You challenge a goal from Sidney Crosby that appears to be goaltender interference. And there's no goaltender interference whatsoever. Look at the Calgary Flames game between the Leafs when it was supposed to be Maple Leafs 2, Flames 2, thanks to Morgan Frost. Well, the refs took a look at it. The Leafs challenged it. They took a look. And this was their sign at the end of that review. No goal. No goal. Which meant the challenge was successful. But here's what happened tonight. The Islanders thought, wait a minute. There's a challenge on the play that we can challenge. There's something we can challenge here. What can we challenge here? Wait a minute. There's somebody interfering with the goaltender. The goaltender has a chance to block it. That's not a goal. Refs, look at that for a minute and tell us what you see. The refs looked at it. They told you what they saw. And they said, good goal. Meaning, Crosby gets the goal. The Islanders get a penalty. And the Penguins fans have nothing but sure relief. They have nothing but pure relief that it is their goal and it's not a disqualified goal. Like what happened in the Leafs game last night on Monday. Yes, I bring up the Leafs and the Flames game, everybody listening on the program, because there was a disqualified goal in which the Leafs challenged and got it, but they almost got a bench minor. If it was anything like tonight, you can best assure the Flames fans were feeling relieved if that goal did count. And who knows, the score could have been 6-3 Flames. It could have been 6-3 Maple Leafs. You never know. You won't know, I guess, until possibly the playoffs. We'll see what happens down the road.
Yes, indeed we will. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are approaching that time when we are going to get into the shake of the game. Thomas, while I was dealing with our connection issues, because we've been having some issues, I would expect, he brought up a couple of our games from tonight. Just a quick update on those games going on. 2 of them going on right now. The Oilers leading comfortably 7-1 over the Hockey Club, and the Canucks are leading the Jets 3-2 in the second period of play. So the Jets, I think the Jets game's not over, not yet, not by a long shot. But the game between the Hockey Club and the Oilers, that one might just be over. But we'll see if in the next 7 minutes and 48 seconds, the Hockey Club can score a couple of goals. And one of the other finals, besides the earlier finals Thomas mentioned, was the Blackhawks falling 6-2 to the Seattle Kraken in the Windy City. All right. Time now for a break. When we continue on Penguins postgame, Penguins postgame rolls into the wrap-up. It's time for Who Are the Lucky Men Getting the Shake of the Game? Who's going into the running for the game puck of the game? And then Thomas and I, since we are here together for you tonight on Penguins postgame, we'll provide you with what's next for the Islanders and what's next for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'll provide you with what's next for the Pens. Thomas will have you for the Islander side. We'll do it all coming up on Penguins postgame. Stick with us. Whether it's a 1-hour program, a 45-minute program, which obviously is not the case, it doesn't matter. We will get it to you as best we can. Thomas took over while we were figuring out the host was figuring out some problems here, and that's me. He took over our look around on Sunday. We did do, on Tuesday night, Sunday. Scott, it's Tuesday. Tonight's game was on a Tuesday night. Focus. Well, the good thing about it is we don't get a chance to look around the NHL on Friday night because we're the only game. We're the only game. Perhaps a 45-minute show will happen on that one when the Pens play the Jackets on Friday night. We'll get you ready for that one on this show and on our episode 8 of season 4. With that said, we'll be back in 30 seconds after this from SienaT Radio on both On the Ice and Behind the Benches and Sports for Beginners. A quick word from our good buddy Nick over at SienaT Radio. And then Penguins postgame wraps up with the shake of the game, game puck of the game, and barring any internet connection troubles, we will get into what's next for the Pens and what's next for the Islanders. Stick with us. Back after this from SienaT Radio.
SienaT Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down. Nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on SienaT Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on SienaT Radio.
Thank you very much, Nick. And it's been an honor trying to get into some of the shows that you provide. Want to issue a quick programming note here. The Penguins post-game show against the Devils will come your way on Saturday if we're able to get it to you, unless I'm able to get it to you on a Friday night. Perhaps Thomas will be back in the studio with us. Perhaps not. We'll see. One thing we know for sure during that game, the Penguins will be the only game on. Penguins and the Jackets, the only game on. No need to look around the league. Well, I guess we could look around at the upcoming Saturday action. But all things considered, Penguins are off on 2 days, and then they'll try to put a 5-game homestand to bed against the Columbus Blue Jackets on Friday night. Speaking of that, we still got to wrap this one up. So we have a few things to wrap up here. Number 1 is our game puck of the game. Number 2 is our shake of the game. And you know what? Rather than do honorable mentions like we would do, since we have a guest, we're going to start with Thomas, and he'll give us his shake of the game recipients. I will give you mine. And a programming note for baseball fans as opening day continues tomorrow. Yeah, that's right, opening day. It's not here for everybody else in the MLB, but it is here for the Chicago Cubs and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Game 2 of that Tokyo Series finale goes at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. So once Thomas and I get out of here, we're going to have to hightail it out of here and not only get ready to probably get up for that game, but also I'm going to have to look at some post-game shows, including the one I did earlier today. With that being said, let's get right to it. Thomas, kick us off here. Oh, and by the way, before we get into that, the Shake of the Game is our Player of the Game segment, run by Jake Gensel. He actually created that ad that inspired this Player of the Game segment to be called the Shake of the Game. And it is now being run by Penguins forward Brian Rust. So whenever Brian Rust scores in a Penguins hockey game, whether that's this Friday, or that was tonight, or that's on Sunday night against Florida, in Florida, or wherever, whenever it is, Penguins fans in Pittsburgh will receive half off Rusty Shakes the next day at the Milkshake Factory. And if you've tried a Jake Shake or a Rusty Shake, let me know what you prefer. Send an email to sportsforbeginnerspodcast 8231@gmail.com. Leave it in the comments in the YouTube channel. And of course, feel free, absolutely feel free to, and I say to, feel free to leave it in the comments below. And if you're on Discord, put it on into our Penguins post-game show interactions or in our general page, whatever you fancy. Links to the Discords will be in the description of this and the episode I did earlier. As well as I will add one description link to our Discord server in the description of our Season 8, Season 4, not 8, Season 4, Episode 8 program, which comes your way this Thursday after a prior commitment. Perhaps we'll have Thomas on to talk hockey and baseball. You never know. And I'm in conversation with Ryan Talbot. So we might have Talbot. We might have Mr. Ryan back to talk some Bills. Looking forward to that when it is able to happen. All right, with that said, let's not waste any more time. Thomas, let us know, real quick, your shake of the game and game puck of the game recipients from both sides, one from each side for each recipient due to our time constraints, as we are now 1 hour and 6 minutes into the show.
All right, everybody. Well, you know me, I'm one for a lot of shake of the game players, but since we're running low on time and we're into about the time where it's go time to figure out what the next games for the New York Islanders and of course Pittsburgh Penguins next games are, I'll make this quick and I'll say my shake of the game goes to on the New York Islanders. My shake of the game goes to none other than Noah Dobson. Yes, I know he's a star of the game for tonight's hockey game, but he was more than just a star in this hockey game. I mean, he had 31 shifts in this game. 4 shots, 4 blocks, 1 hit, 2 giveaways. Hey, if you can have a hit in this game, you definitely deserve to be a star in this game. And if you could do that, plus try to get a goal and an assist, you definitely deserve to be a star of the game. And now for the team that lost by a pair, the Pittsburgh Penguins. All right, Pittsburgh Penguins, all right. Look, we knew this was coming. We'd seen it before in the season. We knew it was coming. Tristan Jarry, you fall under my shake of the game. And no, I don't mean this in a bad way. I mean, that's quite the comeback you have brought in this season. 4 games. Wow. I mean, wow. What a comeback. You have found your game, my friend. You had found your game. But tonight, your game was found by the New York Islanders, and they executed it. You finished the night with a save percentage of 919%, allowing 3 even strength goals, but you didn't let that bother you. You made 34 out of 37 shots given to you, and for that, I tip my hat to you. I don't have a hat on right now, but I tip my hat to you. And there you have it, Penguins fans. My Islanders and my Penguins player of the game. Now, I do believe we have to get into our next games, but Scott, real quick, let the audience know who are your shake of the game performers.
All right, we do indeed. As I mentioned earlier before we got into this game, breakdown of this point of the show, the Penguins will be next in action against the Columbus Blue Jackets. It's the last game of the season for the Jackets and the Pens. And we talk about last games of the season. We talk about last games of the year. Well, we talk about last games of the year, or last games of the season, rather. Well, for that, we'll get into a little bit more in a second, because Penguins are looking to be not a victim of a sweep against the Columbus Blue Jackets. But with that all being said, let's keep it to today's game. Before we jump the gun, real quick here, my shake of the game for the New York Islanders. That will belong to goaltender of the New York Islanders, Ilya Sorokin. 20 saves on 22 shots for the Islanders. The Penguins shot 22 shots on him. He stopped 20 of them. Gave up only 2 goals, both at even strength. Played 59 minutes and 52 seconds on the ice. Finishes the game with a save percentage of .909. And the second person to get a recipient, this will go to my game puck. The game puck of the game is going to go to, you guessed it, if you said Noah Dobson, you did not guess wrong. Noah Dobson's going to get my game puck of the game for the New York Islanders. For the Pittsburgh Penguins, Tristan Jarry, he is going to get my game puck of the game. Not a real good start for Tristan Jarry, but, well, actually it was a really good start for Tristan Jarry until he gave up the goals that he gave up. But not a promising finish. And that's something that the Penguins are going to need if they should be able to win out and surprise everybody by saying, here we are, we're in the playoffs. Now try to knock us out. They're going to need to win the final 12 games of the season to do so. They could not do that with this game number 13 left in the season. 12 games left. Can they do it? We'll find out over the course of these next 12 games. But Tristan Jarry, game puck of the game. My shake of the game is going to go to the guy who got his NHL first. Yes, Sidney Crosby, he's in my runner-up there, but I'm going to give it to the guy that got an NHL first. Joona Koppanen, Joona Koppanen, picking up his first NHL goal in his NHL career. Welcome to the big leagues, my friend. Welcome to the NHL. You will it's bittersweet that you get the goal tonight, but it would have been even better if you got it with a Penguins win, and that's something the Penguins failed to do. So before I bring up the Penguins schedule, Thomas, let the listeners know the Islanders and the Penguins are done for 2024-2025. So I know I like to do next 5, but if you want to do next 4, that's fine. I'll just add in that 5th game when I start to do the Penguin side. But let us know.
All right,
Who's up
all
next?
right, all right. You had your time. Now, Islanders fans here. I want to address the Penguins Nation before I get to the next. 5, 4, whatever games you want to call it. And I'm going to do that. Now, Penguins fans, I'm sure by now you are very aware where the Penguins are at. Right now, it looks impossible. As we look here on NHL.com, where the wild card is, right now it looks impossible, right? But remember, you guys are on a 4-game winning streak. And if you can hop the Boston Bruins, the Detroit Red Wings, your next team opponent in the Blue Jackets, the team you lost to tonight, the Islanders, and somehow manage to get in that 3rd place spot, the NHL could be seeing a surprise opponent when we hit April. But Thomas, that seems impossible. And you're right, it does seem impossible. But you know what's not impossible? Is the fact that the team hasn't given up. It's going to be a squeeze with 12 games left. But if you believe in the Penguins and you believe that they can do it, Penguins Nation, I'd suggest, if you still believe they have a chance, to don't lose hope just yet. Because they're not out of it until hockey says that's it for Penguins hockey this year. They're not out of it just yet. All right. To all you Islander fans out there, the Islanders Nation returns home for a 4-game homestand of their very own, starting on Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 p.m. Central Time, 4:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 5:30 Mountain Time, 11:30 in the UK time, as they take on the Montreal Canadiens, who are playing host of the Ottawa Senators tonight, and will be next up on the Montreal Canadiens hit list with the New York Islanders. That should be a fun game. 4:00 p.m. action for you on the East Coast for the New York Islanders as the 3:00 Central Time starts a Calgary Flame battle between the New York Islanders and the Calgary Flames. I believe that will be a 2:00 Mountain Time start and a 1:00 p.m. Pacific Time start. And I'm not sure what that time will be in the UK, but I do know that it will start at 4:00 p.m. on the East Coast. Back at it to wrap up the 4-game homestand with the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Vancouver Canucks before 2 games on the road to begin April. And those games, of course, will be between the Blue Jackets and the Vancouver Canucks, probably the final 2 matches of the season for the New York Islanders between those 2 teams, heading into April, which is next month. And that also means the beginning of the regular season ender and the beginning of a regular season baseball-wise beginner, because we're just basically days away now from the official launch of the MLB regular season. It all finishes up with a 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time start against the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Vancouver Canucks, both on Monday night and Wednesday night, the 26th of March. Not many games left to play in the NHL season for the New York Islanders. Not many games left to play for the Pittsburgh Penguins side of things. But to give you what's next for the Penguins, we send it off to Scott. Before we do, final check-in here on the action that has happened today. 9 games on the slate, including the Penguins. 6-2 final, Kraken over the Blackhawks. 7-1 final is the final score of the Edmonton Oilers and Utah Hockey Club game. The Edmonton Oilers take care of business. And so does Connor McDavid with a goal in there. Overtime action for you in Dallas. Dallas wins it 4-3. The Predators take care of business, or rather get taken care of business by the St. Louis Blues 4-1. The Washington Capitals also win a 4-1 score over the Detroit Red Wings in Washington, D.C. The Calgary Flames beat the New York Rangers 2-1. And the Ottawa Senators lose their 5-game winning streak to the Montreal Canadiens before making it a 6-game winning streak in their favor. The Montreal Canadiens stop a 6-game winning streak for the Ottawa Senators before it even starts, ending the winning streak at 5 games. And the Vancouver Canucks currently have a 5-2 lead over the Winnipeg Jets. That's the only game on right now. All right, Scott, I've revealed the action. Now it is time for the next 4 Penguins games, or the next 5 Penguins games. But now, before that you get back there, I do want to mention to hockey fans, if you're interested in hockey tomorrow night, there is action for you on Wednesday. The Avalanche take on the Maple Leafs. I'll have you for a Maple Leaf Post recap. And the Kraken are also in action. They'll take on the Minnesota Wild at 9:30 on the East Coast. All right. Now, send it back over to finish off the program. Here is Scott.
All right. Time now to close this one down. But wait a second. Aren't you going to give us who's next for Pittsburgh? We already know that the Penguins won't play the Islanders the rest of the year. So who else are they playing? Come on, Scott. Don't leave us hanging here. I am not going to leave you hanging, Penguins Nation. We promise to give you the next 5 games, or 4 games, or whatever you want to call them. But I want to issue, just before we get into it, by the time we get to our Sunday recap, Pens and the Panthers with single-digit games remaining, we will be moving from 5 games to 4 games. We may even just move to just what's next for the team. So what is their next matchup? With that being said, before we thank Thomas for his contributions to our show tonight, here's what our upcoming 5-game schedule looks like. The 5-game homestand wraps up Friday night, on Friday, March 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. Penguins will be looking to make it 4-1 at home in their homestand, as they lose a perfect homestand tonight, 4-2, losing their first game since getting shut out by Vegas during the 3-game road trip that ended 1-2, as the Penguins won that game on Sunday, March 9th, 3-1. After the Blue Jackets and the Florida Panthers, the Penguins will be off to Tampa Bay for a Tuesday night showdown against the Tampa Bay Lightning on March 25th. Penguins postgame will come your way on Friday ahead of game number 2 between the Orioles and the Blue Jays, as we break down the action from Buffalo inside of KeyBank Center as season series with the Tampa Bay Lightning, Florida Panthers, and the Buffalo Sabres come to an end. That one comes to an end on Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern from KeyBank Center, Buffalo versus Pittsburgh. And then this coming Sunday, not this Sunday, the 23rd, the following Sunday, the Penguins will play the Ottawa Senators for the absolute last time this season. So from the Jackets on Friday night to Florida this coming Sunday to next Tuesday night taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning from Tampa Bay to next Thursday night going head to head with the Buffalo Sabres to the following Sunday night at 5 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m., 4 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Pacific. Ottawa taking on the one, the only Pittsburgh Penguins. And there you have it. There are the next 5 games for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And those will be our next 5 broadcasts of Penguins postgame. Maybe Thomas will step in for a postgame show or two to run it as the host. Perhaps we won't do video. Maybe we'll do audio. No matter what, we will try our very best to get those shows to you as we can. 12 games left. 70 games complete. Do you see the end of the road coming? Whether or not the Penguins make the playoffs or not, they're going to have to win the next 12 games, and that starts on Friday night. We'll prepare you for the game on Thursday, March 20th, 2025, as our Friday, March 21st, 2025 episode 8 of Season 4, comes your way. And then ahead of Orioles versus Blue Jays, Game 2 of a 4-game set against the Orioles in the 2025 season for the Blue Jays. We'll recap that game, Buffalo versus Pittsburgh, on episode 9 of Season 4. Perhaps one last Penguins postgame show, season edition, for the 2024-2025 season is in the planning. Will we get that one to you? Find out after the Buffalo Sabres game. But for now, let's focus on this Friday's matchup against the Jackets. Thank you so much to Thomas for joining us here today on the show. And thank you so much to you, the listeners, for joining us here on the program. Would love it if you took a second to rate, review, and share the podcast. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your night. I will talk to you on Thursday for a season episode of Sports for Beginners, going to be dropping ahead of the Pens and the Jackets. we get you ready for the Pens and the Jackets on episode 8 of season 4. Plus, baseball content galore. We'll talk about how the Tokyo series went. I'll provide you my thoughts. And so much more. As the old 2-9er would say before every Penguins game, I should say. Until the next time we talk to each other, enjoy the hockey game. And as the great Mike Lang always would end at the end of every Penguins victory, even though the Penguins lost this one tonight 4-2 to the New York Islanders, and in doing so they lost 3-1 in the season series to the New York Islanders. Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has just left the building. My name is Scott McGregor. He is Thomas McGregor. And we will see you real soon on Sports for Beginners for episode 8 of season 4. And I will see you either before we have to do the Florida game recap, or at some point on Saturday after that game between the Jackets and the Pens. It's the Penguins versus the Jackets. And it's next time on Penguins Postgame. Remember, Penguins fans, love one another, and we say loud and proud, let's go Pens. See you soon. Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has just left the building. You've just listened to Pittsburgh Penguins hockey on the Sports for Beginners podcast. To learn more about the show and to view the upcoming schedule, like the Sports for Beginners Facebook page. Search Sports for Beginners or visit the official Sports for Beginners podcast website. Thanks for listening, and until next time, stay tuned. And remember that it is not goodbye, it is until next time. And you'd have to be here to believe it.